Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. We move on now, and Governor Udomi Emmanuel has closed his defense at the Akwa Ibom Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal, where the All Progressives Congress is challenging the party's victory. At the resumed hearing of the petition, the governor and his party, the People's Democratic Party, presented their last witness who testified that the election was peaceful and transparent. Lawyer to the PDP, Mr. Tayo Oyetibo, told the tribunal that he has no intention of presenting additional witnesses. We move on now, and the Osun State House of Assembly was today besieged by protesting lecturers of the state-owned tertiary institutions over their unpaid salaries in the last 8 months. The lecturers, under the aegis of the Council of Academic Staff Union of Osun State-owned tertiary institutions, also says they are no longer interested in the state's contributory pension scheme. Attempts by the House leadership to address them failed as the tension heightened.
These lecturers of the state-owned polytechnics and colleges of education from across the state began to arrive at the State House of Assembly as early as 8 a.m. chanting songs of solidarity with placards bearing various inscriptions. The workers marched on to the assembly complex to meet with the lawmakers to pour out their grievances.
We are here to register our displeasure on the non-payment of our salary, the fraudulent contributory pension scheme, and what the government has been doing in remitting all this money. And our children are resuming to school now. We don't have money to pay.
A few hours after, the chief whip of the House, Honorable Folonsho Bamishayemi, received the protesters and promised that all issues concerning their salaries will receive prompt attention.
This place is a committee of grievances. Be free to ventilate. Yes. Gentlemen, we sort out this issue. 3 days.
This seemed to have fallen on deaf ears as the workers insisted on seeing the speaker, who arrived 30 minutes later. The lecturers wasted no time in expressing their frustration.
The government has cut our salaries. Yes. The financial effect of last promotion and the migration policies that have already taken national effect, policies that have already imposed additional workload on people, policies that has made a principal lecturer a chief lecturer, and by virtue of which he has been performing extra duties. It is time to implement it financially, as agreed between us and government.
With tension already heightened, the speaker's attempt to address them didn't go down well with the protesters.
This grievance is against the executive, not directly against I want silence.
The pressure kept piling, necessitating the speaker to leave without successfully addressing them. One after the other, the lecturers left, hoping that their message has been passed and due attention would be accorded them in order to end their 8 months unpaid outstanding salaries and non-payment of their entitlement since September 2013.
Judiciary workers in Cross River State have suspended their 8th-month strike action to press home their demands for financial autonomy, among other demands. The Cross River State chapter of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, that's Osun, called off the strike after signing an MOU with the state government. The Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade told the union that he'll abide by the terms of the agreement, with a promise to set up a committee that will work out modalities of implementing its provisions. The National Treasurer of Osun, Jimoh Musa Alonge, urged his colleagues to resume work with immediate effect. And now to our concluding review of President Muhammadu Buhari's 100 days in office. Our last stop is the energy sector. Since independence, this sector has provided more than 70% of the nation's revenue. In fact, most people see the oil sector as not only the most lucrative ministry, but at the heart of the nation's economy. In our next report, our energy correspondent Olu Phillips takes a look at 100 days of Muhammadu Buhari in the energy sector.
Long queues, anguish, frustration over non-availability of petrol were very visible at the early days of this administration. While many thought it was bad timing, the scenario across the country only indicated a recurring problem in the downstream oil and gas sector that must be addressed, and quickly so. President Muhammadu Buhari is clear in his mind about reforming the sector and had made it clear even before he was sworn in. June 26, 2015, the first hammer drops. Mr. President dissolves the board of NNPC. June 28, 2015, the Ministry of Environment gets a directive to promote the use of LPG for cooking. Not done yet, August 13, 2015, a big stick waited. The former GMD of NNPC was sacked and replaced by the current GMD, Dr. Emmanuel Ibekachuku. 24 hours later, the president constitutes a presidential governing council to clean up Ogoni land. 11 days after, still keeping his eyes on the ball, President Buhari appoints PwC and KPMG to commence forensic audit of NNPC. Following the change in the guard at the towers, subsequent changes had followed. Top management has been pruned from 122 to about 83, all in a bid to achieve efficiency. Among other restructuring cutting across pipeline security, the refineries, crude swap deals, and more.
The combination of what DPR is doing and PPRA, what they are doing, is what we are seeing. And I believe that they are getting their own instructions from the government. Okay, so I think that in the first 100 days in my sector, things are moving, except that we have not been paid.
However, for an industry that is international in nature, experts argue that some critical steps have to be taken by Mr. President.
If there is any worry right now about this economy, it's the lack of clear policy pronouncements, clear policy direction with regard to the reform in the oil and gas sector, both upstream and downstream. A lot of investors that are desirous of investing in that sector are not able to take any major decision as we speak, because there is no clear policy direction.
For instance, it is still not clear how many more days we will have with the subsidy regime, which many have clamored against. In 2014 alone, 971 billion naira was budgeted for subsidy alone. Also, the fiscal regime for the sector is still in limbo, stalling investment and causing lull in new oil exploration.
The pipeline system, as you know, is almost non-existent today. You see trucks in Apapa, everywhere is blocked. All that kind of investment in new pipelines, new infrastructure, that would take place once you open up the industry and you deregulate it, and people can get a fair return for the investment. That's what happened in telecoms, that's what happened in media, and definitely it can happen on the downstream side of things also.
Nigeria is a rich gas nation with substantial reserves, but infrastructure is inadequate, and the would-be investors say they need rules and right pricing.
Until government gets out of the business of trying to regulate commercial transactions between two profit-making entities, you will not have the gas you need to solve the power crisis you have in Nigeria.
So much positives have been attributed to the president's body language, but in the oil and gas sector, assumptions don't count. The industry wants clear-cut pronouncement, and they want that done like yesterday, especially with the unfavorable crude price. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
When the news at 10 returns, more on our review on the energy sector. I've been joined by the editor-in-chief of Sweet Crude Reports, and that's Mr. Hector Ibikuwa. He joins again.